Hey everyone, and welcome to another Explainer. Today, we are taking a really high-level mastermind conversation and distilling it down into a powerful masterclass on mindset and business growth. Look, if you've ever felt like your clients, or honestly, even you, are hitting this frustrating invisible ceiling, the insights we're breaking down today are absolutely going to change the way you operate. Whether you're coaching clients, leading a team, or just trying to navigate your own entrepreneurial journey and figure out what on earth is holding you back, we are going to unpack the deep psychology of what truly drives elite performance. Okay, so let's quickly look at our roadmap for today. We've got four main stops that will take us from tactical, everyday questioning frameworks all the way down to redefining our fundamental identity. We'll hit the power of great questions, breaking the excuse cycle, the fear of success, and finally, success versus significance. All right, let's jump right into section one, the power of great questions, or how changing your words can literally change someone's mind. We're starting right at the tactical level here. The mastermind participants realize something huge. You don't always need to give someone the answers. Sometimes the absolute best thing you can do is hand them a powerful question and just let it marinate. Think about this specific word swap, swapping a why for a what or a who. It sounds simple, right? But it instantly stops people from defending their actions and forces them to truly examine their motivations. Just think about the psychology behind the word why. From the time we're little kids, why is almost always a reprimand. Why did you do that? Why didn't you clean your room? So when you ask a grown adult, why didn't you hit your sales target this week? Bam, it triggers that exact same childhood instinct of being scolded. They instantly throw up their defenses and start justifying why they didn't take action. It makes them feel like they're being graded. But if you just switch your framework to asking what or who, like, what was the biggest obstacle in your schedule this week? Or who is most impacted when you don't hit this target? It completely changes the vibe of the conversation. The walls come down, they stop making excuses, and they actually start looking inward to find the root cause of what's going on. This brings us to a phenomenon the mastermind playfully coined the Jody effect. It's named after one of the coaches, Jody, who shared this incredible breakthrough she had with a client. The Jody effect is basically when a question is so profoundly direct and so perfectly timed that the other person actually cries. Now, you might be thinking, whoa, making them cry? But actually, that emotional reaction is a great thing. It means you've successfully bypassed all their stubborn logic and struck a core truth. Jody's client was completely burning herself out, just miserable, because she felt forced to endlessly market her services to total strangers on the internet. Jody didn't give her a 5-step marketing plan. She just asked, what would your business look like if you only focused on serving the people you already know and love? The client instantly started crying. That perfectly timed question didn't just offer a new strategy. It completely dismantled her anxiety and gave her profound emotional permission to stop doing the very thing she hated. And that perfectly illustrates this fundamental rule. Logic makes you think, emotion makes you act. We have to remember this, because until someone really feels the emotional weight of their situation, they are simply not going to take the hard steps required to change it. You can hand a client all the logical spreadsheets, blueprints, and step-by-step guides in the known universe. You can map out exactly how many phone calls they need to make to hit their income goal. But let me tell you, until you connect that spreadsheet to their heart, until you find the emotion driving the math, that spreadsheet is literally just going to collect dust on their desk. When you bring someone to an emotional realization, you take a vague, fuzzy desire and anchor it, transforming pure logic into immediate action. Let's move into section 2, breaking the excuse cycle and navigating what we call the seasonal fog. This is where we see how these questions apply in the real world when someone is just completely stuck in a holding pattern. The mastermind highlighted a massive, dangerous psychological trap in the business world. They call it the Halloween to Easter fog. And I want to turn the mirror to you for a second here. Where in your own business are you currently letting this fog dictate your calendar? You know exactly how it happens. It starts in late October. People decide to kind of coast for a few days around Halloween. Then they say, well, Thanksgiving's right around the corner. I'll just ramp back up after that. But then it's the December holiday slump. Then they need time to recover from New Year's. Then Valentine's Day hits, and honestly, before they know it, it's Easter. They have literally spent 6 full months eating holiday food, prioritizing their own comfort, getting ready to get ready, and inventing incredibly creative excuses for why they just can't launch their new initiative right now. It is half a year of lost potential, swallowed entirely by seasonal excuses. So how do you break someone out of that fog? You use their own stated goals to build an out-of-body question, something like, what would the version of you closing 12 homes a year do? You're basically forcing them to look down at their current excuses from the perspective of their future successful self. If someone tells you they want to double their production to 12 deals, you don't sit there and argue with them about why they claim they're too tired this week. No way. Instead, you effectively make them an advisor to their own life. You ask them to embody that future, higher-earning version of themselves, step entirely outside their current body, and evaluate their current calendar from that elevated perspective. When they look at their own actions through the lens of their future success, they realize almost immediately how trivial and self-sabotaging those excuses really are. To really shatter that excuse cycle, you have to use targeted tactics that shift the burden of responsibility right back onto them. It transforms a vague, "I want to do better," into a concrete family mission. As one coach pointed out, it is never really about the money. It's about what the money does. It's about paying a daughter's college tuition or finally taking the whole family to Hawaii. When you ask, "Hey, who else is depending on your success?" you bring their loved ones right into the equation. It means they have to sit down at the dinner table, get buy-in, and say, "Look, I'm going to have to work late on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but we're doing this together so we can take that dream vacation." When daily actions are anchored to providing for the people they love, that seasonal fog just burns right off. The excuses completely melt away. All right, pivoting to section 3, the fear of success. It's time to turn the mirror inward. We have to acknowledge a really hard truth here. Coaches, leaders, and business owners usually suffer from the exact same mental roadblocks they help their clients overcome. We are fantastic at giving advice, but notoriously terrible at taking it ourselves. Transitioning from a pure employee mindset on the left to a true business owner mindset on the right is honestly terrifying for a lot of people. Why? Because it requires giving up the familiar, comfortable exhaustion of the hustle for the completely unknown territory of true leverage. So many highly successful people are just deeply addicted to hustle culture. They're wired to believe that if they aren't grinding 12 hours a day, sweating and stressed out, they aren't earning their keep. The dopamine hit of being frantically busy feels like real productivity to them. But a true business owner builds systems where the operations and the revenue happen whether they are on the clock or not. To step into that leverage, you actually have to let go of the self-employed version of yourself, and that often means grieving the identity of being the hardest worker in the room. Here's a brilliant mathematical realization from one of the participants to help with that transition: the base salary item. By mathematically defining the absolute minimum you actually need to survive, you remove the catastrophic anxiety and free yourself up to build your empire. Let's look at the math here. This participant looked at their monthly expenses and realized that by compressing all their core high-ticket coaching clients into just 2 days a week, they completely covered their family's baseline lifestyle. Those 2 days became their base salary. Psychologically, that is a massive safety net. That crushing anxiety of "how am I going to pay the mortgage" just disappears. Now, they've got 3 full days a week completely free and unburdened to take risks, build digital courses, write a book, whatever, without that suffocating guilt whispering that they should be working. If you're still feeling stuck, you can run through what's called the agony or advantage quadrant. It's a powerful interrogation of self, designed to reveal that our fear of success is very often just a disguised need for safety and control. Let's walk through the 4 steps. Number 1, you have to honestly evaluate exactly where you are right now. No sugarcoating it. Number 2, ask the hard question: what hidden benefit are you getting by staying stuck? Often playing small gives you a false sense of security and keeps you safe from criticism. Number 3, identify exactly who you are so desperately afraid of letting down if you change course. And finally, number 4, which is usually the hardest, pinpoint what your inner child is trying to protect you from. Are you avoiding scaling up because you were taught as a kid that wealthy people are greedy? It's uncomfortable for sure, but asking these deep psychological questions is an absolutely necessary mini masterclass for your own personal growth. And as you go through that growth, remember the beauty of the friction. Instead of running from the frustration of growth, you literally have to embrace it. Being pushed out of your comfort zone is exactly what forces you to evolve. Too many entrepreneurs stall out entirely because they think they need 5,000 things to be completely perfect before they take the leap. The website has to be perfect, the business cards printed, the market conditions flawless. Look, that's an illusion. Think about a rocket leaving the Earth. It requires immense, violent friction to break through the atmosphere and reach orbit. The pressure, the imperfect timing, the sheer friction of the situation, that is often exactly what produces your absolute best ideas and forces you to level up. I want you to ask yourself this Socratic question right now. Why do you give more to others than you give to yourself? Your reluctance to step into your full potential is actually depriving the world of the impact you were meant to have.
We see this all the time. Natural givers really struggle to receive. We get so busy holding space for other people, solving our clients' crises, putting out fires for our families, that we completely forget how to prioritize our own vision. Being a chronic giver can actually become a really sneaky form of self-sabotage if it stops you from building the leverage you need to reach your true potential. There comes a vital moment where that incredible giving spirit has to be directed right back at yourself. Because if it's not, you're eventually going to run out of capacity to help anyone at all. And that brings us to our final section, Section 4, Success versus Significance. This is where we redefine your ultimate identity, transcend all these business tactics entirely, and examine the true purpose behind all this hard work.
This is a brilliant concept borrowed from Bob Buford's book, Halftime. It shows us that the ultimate evolution of an entrepreneur is graduating from just building a resume to building a real legacy. Think about it. The first half of your career is almost always this aggressive quest for success, right? It's all about your own security, gathering accolades, hitting revenue markers, and proving your worth to the world. You are building a resume. But true fulfillment usually hits in the second half of life, when you realize that just acquiring more doesn't scratch the itch anymore. That's when you pivot to a quest for significance. You start utilizing all the knowledge, wealth, and experience you've gathered to elevate the people around you and build a legacy that actually lasts.
A great way to test where you're at is how you answer the question, what do you do? When someone asks you that, saying, I'm a real estate coach, completely stifles your identity. But explaining the transformation you facilitate, that opens up a whole new world of connection. During the Mastermind, the host shared this deeply relatable story. He was just standing at a gas station, pumping gas, and a stranger casually asked him what he did for a living. And he completely choked. Panic set in, and he just defaulted to saying something incredibly boring like, oh, I'm a consultant. He missed a massive opportunity because he leaned on a standard job title. Listen, what you actually do is not your title. It is the transformation you bring to the table. When you focus on the absolute essence of the impact you have on people's lives, you invite immediate curiosity, instead of just shutting the conversation down. For example, take a look at this breathtaking quote from the Mastermind. One of the coaches answers that question by saying, I am a professional space holder. Talk about pure significance. Think about how radical and cool that sounds compared to a standard corporate title. It instantly invites curiosity and deep conversation. It completely changes her posture when she says it. She explained that yes, she literally holds physical spaces open for events, but on a much deeper level, she holds the emotional space for her clients to finally silence the noise of the world, listen to their own intuition, and find their correct path. That is not just a job you do for a paycheck, that is a profound calling. You absolutely must separate your daily grind from your fundamental character. Performance is what you do, but identity is who you are. You have to ensure that your business is merely a vehicle for your higher purpose, not the entirety of your self-worth. If your whole identity is tied up in how many deals you closed this month or how many likes your last marketing video got, you are riding a very dangerous, totally exhausting roller coaster. You'll be constantly terrified of slowing down because you secretly believe that if you stop performing, you cease to matter. But when your foundation is built on who you truly are at your core, the daily operations of running a business become so much lighter. A bad quarter doesn't mean you are a failure as a human being, it just means the vehicle needs a quick tune-up. So I'll leave you with this final, provocative thought to marinate in the crockpot this week. If you stripped away your title, who are you at your essence? Strip away the titles on your business cards, the daily routines, the income brackets, and the safety nets you've built, and figure out exactly who is standing there at the core. Because once you answer this question, the rest of your business and your life will finally fall right into place. Thanks so much for joining me for this explanator. Keep pushing past the need for mere success and start aiming for true significance.